Yo, what's good YouTube? It's your boy 6shot, the 6shot Gaming Channel, and today I'm bringing you that what to do on block Android 17. Now, this one, I think, as I'm recording this, I haven't put all the clips together yet, but this one might be the longest what to do on block. I'm going in great detail about all the Android 17's moves and how they function on block. I made basically a what to do guide with 17 that went over it just a little bit. So if you haven't seen that video, please go back and check that video out. But this is the what to do on block, so this is going to be more on a block string. So anyways, let's get started. But before we do that, you know the drill. Like always, people, if you're new to the channel, please subscribe. Make sure you check out some of the past content. Also, make sure to hit the notification bell to get alerted every single time I drop a new vid for y'all. Also, if you want to help support my channel, make sure to check the description box below to figure out all the ways you can do so. But anyways, let's get started. So, let's start it off. So, with 17 and his block strings, you kind of got to switch it up if you want to get optimal damage. If you happen to do get the hit and you don't really know how to hit confirm very well until later on into the hits, normally you go light, down medium, standing medium into your standing heavy, and if it happens to connect, you just jump cancel just like so and get your normal like regular standard combo that everybody has. But Android 17 B&B combos is a little bit different because he has a 3H, and this plays a big part into his B&B combos. So when you hit with Android 17, you want to go light, standing medium, down medium, 3H, standing heavy, and then you take it to the corner and you get combos like this, and you do very good damage. You can get almost 5k damage starting off with a light starter, so that's really good. So when you do this block string with the 3H, this block string has no gaps at all. So it's a true block string, so your opponent cannot press buttons in between. Also, you cannot reflect this block string. If you try to reflect this block string, you will get hit with the low. So moving on, another thing you should do in your block string is just Android 17 if you don't want to cancel to a special move, because all the special moves has invulnerability in between them, is use his standing key blast. So when you use Android 17 standing key blast, this is 100% safe. As you can see, you cannot get a hit out until the end after the key blast comes out. So this is very important. Also, you can do some backdash shenanigans with the key blast because you do recover fairly quickly. Another thing with using the key blast at the end of the block string is that you cannot reflect if you use only one key blast. If you use multiple key blasts, you can reflect the upcoming ones, but if you use one key blast, you cannot reflect. So that's very well. I mean, very good. And you cannot super dash through this as well. So this is very good. So this block string is a true block string. You cannot vanish until after that first key blast is hit. So make sure to use this block string if you don't want to cancel into a special move. So the next special move we're going to talk about to incorporate in Android 17 block strings is a cell driver, and this is very important in 17's game plan. So 17 have record style moves, and the first one you do is core circle forward, light, and down light. Then you do core circle forward, light, then forward light, then you do core circle forward, light for that. Then you do core circle forward, backs, and key blast button for a wall bounce or jump. Then you do core circle forward, backlight for a fake out. Then you do core circle forward at key blast for a barrier, and then you press core circle forward, circle or heavy for a enhanced move. And then you have an ender move by pressing core circle forward and down in the key blast button, and this move automatically ends. It's called a power blitz. It charges up a key blast, and if you do it again, he shoots out 2 projectiles. So this is very important in his game plan. If you watch my Android 17 breakdown video, I pretty much went over it, but I'm gonna go over it real quick again. You could do any of these follow-ups however order you want to. You can mix and match how you do it. You can do for the low, the overhead, the low, feint to regular punch, so on and so forth. So keep that in mind. Another thing is, when you use the Excel driver in the block string, there is a gap, so if you press the buttons, you will be hit. So you have to keep that in mind. But since there's a gap, you can easily reflect it just like so. And you can also do any type of special move with invincibility or a level 3 super, since that has the invincibility startup as well. So keep that in mind. One thing you cannot do is vanish in between. The gap is not large enough, at least when you're using the light version of the Excel driver, for you to use a vanish. So now let's talk about if your opponent, if you end up blocking the last hit of some of these moves. Like say if the last hit was a light punch, that move is completely 100% safe if he just did the regular light punch follow-up. Now if he ended with the low, as you can see, for certain characters with short normals, it's hard to punish that move, but it is punishable. It's just that with certain characters, it's very, very hard to punish that move if they got short normals. But with other characters like Goku with very good light attacks, they can punish the move. They can only be punished by light attacks. Medium attacks is too slow. And yeah, that's pretty much it. As you can see, we're gonna try this with Kibble, and Kibble has very short lights, and he's not able to punish. So if you're a character like that, then you won't be able to punish the low kick. The same thing applies with the overhead. The overhead is the same way. Obviously, it's an overhead attack, so if you're blocking low, you will get hit. And if you're pressing buttons in between, you're going to get hit as well. If you're pressing like light, medium, stuff like that. And for this, the same thing applies if it's characters with short normals, 17 Kibble, they will not be able to punish. But if it's a character with a longer reaching normal like Goku, they will be able to punish. So keep that in mind. This is very, very important. So when you go for the overhead, the only bad thing about it is that you're airborne, and you're airborne long enough that your opponent can mash out down heavy and punish you completely just like so. So that sucks. But Android 17 has a very, very special option select, and you do this by pressing the key blast button as you're doing the overhead. So as you're hitting with the elbow, you press the key blast button and then continue to press your light attack buttons. So it's an option select that happens right there. So basically what happens is, if your opponent tries to hit you as you're doing this, if you press it with proper timing, the key blast button, you will bait out the attack and punish your opponent. But if you happen to hit your opponent, or if the opponent is still blocking the overhead and you immediately press the light attacks after you press the key blast, your light attack follow-up, so record follow-ups will still continue happening. This option select is very, very good because normally there's a gap, so you would think to vanish, but nope, this option select B vanishes. So yeah, it's crazy. So basically, to not be put in this situation, you have to make the correct read and vanish accordingly and punish just like so. Another thing you could do is use an invincible startup super, because if you use a DP, it won't work because you would just absorb the hit with the barrier. So you have to use a super to beat this out. So keep that in mind. Another thing about the overhead is that you can easily go into the record overhead, pull an assist out to extend the combo, and restart with a regular combo and continue on just like so. So that's very important as well. So moving on, we're going to talk about using the feint within your records on block. So Android 17 has a feint attack that looks kind of sort of like the startup of his overhead attack, but it's a feint. So he jumps up looking like he about to come down the elbow, but he fast falls back down to the ground. So the one thing about this move is, just like the overhead attack, it can be punished with a down heavy because the recovery is kind of crazy when it hits the floor. But if you continue to press on your follow-up attacks right after the feint, you will hurt your opponent out of any type of attempt they try to do. Well, not any attempt, but any type of down heavy attempt of them trying to punish you. But if you try to go for feint overhead, you will get punished because obviously that's the airborne attack. Now, if you hit the floor, any type of light attack will beat out any of your follow-ups. So keep that in mind. If you go for your feint and then hit the floor, any type of light and medium attack will beat out any of your follow-ups. But the heavy attack, any heavy attack speed or slower will lose out. So if you make the right read and know that your opponent is trying to punish you with light attacks or medium attacks after your feint attack, you could call out a barrier, and the barrier will punish your opponent. Even vanish attacks like we learned earlier would not work against this, but as you know, it will lose to a level 3, so the barrier is not foolproof. The one thing about it is that if your opponent basically baits out your regular barrier, they can full combo punish it just like so. So that's a bad thing. So if you feel like your opponent is baiting out your standard barrier, you could go straight into your EX barrier. And this barrier mid-screen, for the most part, is safe from what I know of. Mid-screen, you cannot punish it mid-screen. It's pretty much safe. It gives a little bit of pushback where your opponent cannot reach. Maybe 16 can punish it, I'm not too sure. But in the corner, you can full combo punish it, and that's bad. So try not to use the enhanced barrier in the corner at all. So moving on, we're going to talk about a move you kind of don't want to use in your block strings at all. But so normally I'll talk about moves you could use in block strings, but I'm going to talk about this and make sure that you don't want to use this in block strings. So the first part of the Power Blitz move, you could use this within the Wrecker or by itself, and using it by itself is down the key blast button. It's 100% unsafe, as you can see, and you can punish it with even heavy attacks. There's too much recovery as you charge up the Power Blitz. But after the Power Blitz is charged, the second part of it, basically the 2 projectiles he throws at you, is 100% safe, and it's even plus on block. As you can see right now, I'm just showing you that the Android 17 that did the Power Blitz move jumps first. So this move was 100% plus on block. How much plus on block? Probably 2. But the thing about it, this move causes a little bit of pushback, so it's not much you can really do with it besides maneuver around your opponent. But as you can see, if you both press the same button at the same time, Android 17 that threw the Power Blitz would win out. Now, when you use this moves within your Wrecker, if you use the Wrecker attack follow up with the Power Blitz move, it is a true block string. You cannot reflect or anything right after, so that's very, very important as well. When you do the Power Blitz move by itself within the Excel driver, there is a gap. So if your opponent is pressing buttons, they will get hit by the move, and it causes a slide and knockdown. So you can do slide and knockdown pressure, or just cancel straight into a super. Or if it hits, you can easily cancel into a vanish and continue on the combo, like whatever, any type of vanish combo. So since there is a gap, you can reflect just like so. So that's one way to beat it out. And the gap is large enough that you could do a vanish as well. And like always, you could do an invincible invincible type of move like a DP or a level 3 super, just like so. So that's very important to know as well. So the next move we're going to talk about is using his Acrobatic Assault within his Wreckers within the block string. And I basically talked about everything about the Acrobatic Assault within his guide. So if you want to go back and check out the Android 17 what to do with Android 17 video to basically get a good understanding and comprehension on what you can do with Android 17. But basically he has access to a lot of moves after the wall jump. If you want to do the wall jump back, you're going to do within the Wrecker, you just press back and the key blast button. If you want to do the wall jump forward, you press forward and the key blast button after the Wrecker, and you have access to a whole bunch of moves after you touch the wall. So moving on, we're going to talk about the medium version and the heavier version of the Excel driver. So the light version goes it goes a good distance, but the medium version travels a farther distance. It goes basically full screen, and his version goes full screen as well, but it always crosses through your opponent. So more on that, go check out the Android 17 guide. But yeah, so the medium version has a whole bunch of more recovery than the light version when it comes to actually the follow-up hits to come out. So if you are pressing, or the opponent is pressing light attacks in between it, you will get hit out of the medium version. And you have a whole bunch of time to also confirm to reflect as well. So yeah. But if your opponent is pressing medium attacks during your medium version, they will get beat out because it's not fast enough. So another thing about the medium version of the Excel driver is that you can hold down the button of the medium version and it will cancel out the follow-up records, and you could basically bait out reflex just like so. And you can bait out reflex with a low punish down medium, or you could just bait it out with a damn dragon rush grab. So those are the two ways to bait out the reflex while using the hold cancel version of the Excel driver medium version. Now another thing is that when you hold down the medium version, you're even more susceptible to getting punished. Before you get punished by light attacks, but now you can even get punished by medium attacks, so that's very, very important. Now moving on, we're going to be talking about the enhanced version. And the enhanced version is always going to cross through your opponent. So if your opponent is pressing buttons, they will get hit, but if they wait and time it correctly as you cross through the other side and then press the button, you're going to be able to beat them out. But if they just strictly just mash the buttons and within the block string, they're going to get hit. And even if you vanish in between it, even though there's a gap, your follow-up attack is going to beat out your vanish, and a super dash is going to beat out is going to get beat out as well. So, and sometimes even you do trying to reflect is very hard because you do cross over, switch the sides, so you get beat out trying to reflect. You have to really be on point when you're reflecting. You have to like wait till he crosses through and then reflect, as you just see right there. But yeah, that's pretty hard to do when you have to worry about the light a medium version as well. I mean, even though this one gives you a Q, as you can see, it flashes, and even some supers be missing as well. You gotta be on point with this. Even some supers do be missing. As you can see, Andrew 17 level 1 miss, Andrew 17 level 3 miss. I'm gonna bring out Kibble to show that his level 3 will miss as well. So if you have a super that doesn't really have a hitbox behind you, even with the level 3, it will miss. But obviously, since Goku's at GOAT, his level 3 super will always hit when it crosses out. So that's very, very important to know as well. So yeah, keep these facts and little tidbits in mind. Another thing about Android 17's enhanced Excel driver is that it has upper body invincibility, so it's kind of like a down heavy that it could dead bypass super dashes. Even though it costs a bar meter to bypass super dashes, is very, very good to use. So another thing about Android 17 Excel driver, the enhanced version, is that you can cancel it out as well. So as you cancel through, you're a pretty good distance. I mean, your standing medium is going to hit from the distance you're at, and your down forward heavy is going to hit from the distance you're at. So yeah, but it's not much really you could do. You could call it assist and try to keep on applying pressure from there and stuff like that. But canceling the enhanced version, I wouldn't really recommend it, but I'm just letting you know that that is an option. So the next special move we're going to talk about to incorporate his block strings is the quarter circle back version of his Excel driver. Now he has 3 versions as well, light, medium, heavy, and they pretty much function the same way as the original version of his Excel driver. As you can see on screen, it's pretty much the same properties. The only thing is that the quarter circle back version, he could automatically cancel out of the first follow punch, like how the quarter circle forward version has, and go straight into the mix-ups of the record down light, the record forward medium, the feint, and so on and so forth. Another thing about this version is that this version can be easily hit out of, so you have to keep that in mind compared to the quarter circle forward version. The quarter circle back version can be hit out of, but if you're not on point, you can be hit out of the those versions as well, as you can see on screen. Also, if you have very, very short light attacks, like as you see, like even Goku misses as well. If you do a quarter circle back and immediately go into like a down medium, I mean a down light or a stand or the regular light, you can get beaten out. But as you can see, the medium attacks will beat this move out. So keep that in mind. Now, the one really, really good thing about the quarter circle back version of Excel Driver is if you happen to hit with all your records, you can cancel into the quarter circle forward version of your Excel Drivers and keep on the combo going from there. And you can even do this within your mix-up as well. Now, let's move on to some block strings with assist. And of course, I'm going to always use that trusty old Kid Buu assist. But yeah, when you incorporate the Kid Buu assist with the quarter circle back version of the Excel Driver, you get a really, really deadly mix-up. So I have the computer to block first hit only, and as you can see, all of that was a true block string with the Kid Buu assist. And it could get even crazier from there. You could do a well-timed Kid Buu assist or lockdown assist in general into the whole block string of the follow-ups. All record follow-ups into a true block string, and that's really, really good. And you can even throw in the feint in the very beginning, go into an overhead, and it'll still be a true block string with the Kid Buu assist. So you could throw in a feint into a low and get a combo, and that could psych out the opponent from there. And you can go the feint into an overhead and get a combo, and that's very, very good as well. You can even do this type of block string with the forward version of Excel Driver, but you're not going to be able to do feint overhead and it still be a true block string. Your opponent will be able to reflect or do whatever out of it. So moving on, now we're going to be talking about the Acrobatic Assault in the block strings. And Acrobatic Assault can be very, very good. So we're going to get more in depth with the Acrobatic Assault. So Acrobatic Assault is a wall jump, and you can do a quarter circle forward and the key blast one, and quarter circle back. If you want to go back, you press quarter circle back. If you want to go forward, you press quarter circle forward and the key blast one. The only thing about this, and like I said in the Angel 17 video, is that you're vulnerable all the way until you touch the ground, and even then some. Even when you touch the ground, there is still recovery. So you can get hit by a multiple of things as you're hitting the wall. So this move is not really that great to use by yourself if you know your opponent likes to do stupidness right after your block strings. But like I said earlier, you could do any type of attack out of after you hit the wall. So after you hit the wall, you can do light attacks, you can do medium attacks, you can do key blast, you can do super dash, and so on and so forth. So that's kind of very good to know. So you start to condition your opponent to thinking that you're going to use the Excel Driver, so you want them to reflect, and then you throw in the Acrobatic Assault, come back, punish their reflect, and you get combos just like that off of a punish. And it gets really, really good with Acrobatic Assault when you throw in an assist in there to keep them in a true block string, and your opponent just has to sit there and eat the mix up. As you can see, I'm trying to reflect during this whole time, and nope, cannot reflect. That is a true block string, sir. So then you have high-low mix-ups with the assist, and that's going to be pretty crazy to block. It looks kind of crazy. The only thing is that the low vert option is you can't beat it out with any type of attacks, but you can beat it out with reflects. So that's the only thing that's pretty bad about it. You can beat it out with a reflect, you can beat it out with an advantage if they go low, and you can beat it out with an invincible startup move like a DP or a level 3 super. So yeah, you gotta keep that in mind. But when you go for the overhead option, you cannot reflect out of that at all. So yeah, that's pretty, not even pretty, that's very, very good. But in the corner is where the Acrobatic Assault really shines. And the corner is really, really deadly because you can do stuff like this. And it's like, damn, what your opponent is he's in the world for trouble after that. So in the corner, basically what you want to do is do the acrobatic assault. And as soon as you touch the wall, and you do it towards the opponent, as soon as you touch the wall, you call your assist. The assist is going to end up on the other side. And then you super dash as fast as possible. And then after you super dash, you have an option to do an overhead attack. Or you could just jump down and, and come down with a low. And that's a low overhead. And that's pretty dirty. Or you could do like a delayed air dash into a double overhead. The timing is a little bit tricky on that one, but it's definitely possible. As you can see, you can do double overheads as well. You can also double overhead into a low, and that's very, very dirty as well. You can also cross up your opponent and go into the corner and catch him with an overhead. And you could cross up your opponent again and get a double overhead. And that's crazy as well. You could cross up your opponent again and get double overhead into a low. And that's dirty. You could also cross up your opponent again and get overhead low. And that's dirty as well. And you can cross up your opponent again and get an empty low. And it's really, really crazy. I advise you to experiment with this setup with a whole bunch of different assists to see the type of pushback it gives you. Because in this situation, I end up on the corner side. And that would probably mess with the opponent's head, because they the whole time, since I'm using Kid Buu assist, they thinking, oh yeah, I'm on the left side, and then now I'm in the corner, and you catch your opponent off guard with that. But there are ways to beat this setup out. You can definitely down heavy, and it will always beat out this setup, because the acrobatic assault is you're just vulnerable during the acrobatic assault. You can also vanish as well, because there is a whole bunch of time in between. You can also do an invincible start move like a DP or a level 3 super as well to beat out your opponent during the acrobatic assault. But the way you gotta use the acrobatic assault, first you gotta condition your opponent with your records. Then they're gonna want to try to reflect, and then they can't reflect at all during the acrobatic assault because the super dash will catch them. So reflecting is never a good option against acrobatic assault. So condition your opponent with your records. If they trying to mash out down heavy, they will be hit. Make them stop mashing out down heavy, and then after that you can set up your setup. You can also use the acrobatic assault again within your records as well. All you gotta do is just press it. All you gotta do is just press forward and the key blast button, and you can do these type of setups as well. So yeah, folks, that's pretty much it. That's the end of the road for this video. This is definitely my longest what to do on block I ever done, and yeah, it definitely is my longest what to do on block I ever done. And it could have been way longer if I didn't do the Android 17 guide already. But since I did that guide, I had a lot of stuff I could cut out. I ain't have to talk about. But yeah, hopefully you was able to enjoy the video. If you did enjoy the video, please smash the like button. I greatly appreciate it. I think this is my best what to do on block. I think so. I think I went in great detail about everything, and I'm proud of myself with this one. This one took a lot of time to get all the footage and stuff like that. I was here for mad long doing this. But yeah, hopefully y'all was able to enjoy it. And also, y'all know the drill. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe. Check out some of the past content. I greatly appreciate it. I have tons of content for you to enjoy. Also, make sure to hit the notification bell to get alerted every time I drop a new vid for y'all. And also, if you want to help support the channel, make sure you go check the description box below for ways to do so. But I'm out. Peace.